Hey, my name is Kevin. Welcome to another video about techniques. So, the last video we talked about using muting and chucking as a rhythm technique. Today we're going to switch it up and work with our fretting hand. And I'm going to tell you how to use hammer-ons, pull-offs, and the combination of the two. So we'll do some exercises after I show you guys kind of an in-depth look at how to achieve each of those techniques. Nice and slow. We'll spend some time playing together and having some fun learning this new technique. So get tuned up and let's get to it. All right, let's talk about the hammer-on technique. So the basis of a hammer-on is to create more than one note with just one single pluck. So I'll just be using my thumb here with my strumming hand to pluck these individual strings. And the way I like to do that is I like to grip underneath the body of the uke to stabilize my hand, and then I just use my thumb here to pluck the strings down. So for the example here, I'll be using the C string on the 2nd fret. So first I will play it and then I'll show you how to do it. So as I play a hammer-on here, you can hear that I plucked with my thumb one time, but I created two notes. So I could easily do the same thing by plucking the note twice, but you can hear the difference here as I play that with a hammer-on. So what I do to hammer on a note is basically I play the note open with the C string, and I have my middle finger here, or my index or ring, it doesn't matter in the situation. I typically like to choose my stronger finger, so the pinky is going to be the hardest to do this with, so I'll just use my middle finger as an example here. But I pluck the string open, and then I slam my finger down onto the string. And when I say slam, it's kind of like a very gentle slam, but you want to make sure that you're coming down with enough pressure to make sure that note is continuing to ring. And you're going to say, Kevin, I see your finger shaking on the note too. That's something else that you can add to it, which is kind of sustaining the note. So by just kind of toggling the note a little bit with your fingertip up and down, you can keep that note resonating as you go. So again, let me demonstrate that. So I'm open here and hammering the second. You can hear that second note come through. So you can do a hammer-on with an open string, or you could do a hammer-on with something already fretted. So the second example here, I'll have my index finger on the C string on the 2nd fret, and I'm going to use my ring finger to hammer the 4th. So when I do that, I pluck the C string on the 2nd fret, and then with my ring finger, I'm going to slam that down on the 4th fret. So you hear that second note come through? So if you're following below and that little numerical stuff called tablature looks confusing to you, I have a full video dedicated to reading tablature. It's on my channel, on the website. You can check that out as well. So this would be notated, as you can see, 2H4. So I'm 2 hammer 4. So if you see that, and that might come up in chord melody pieces, and maybe for instance like in the Pink Panther, one of my other videos, you'll see there's hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides. They're all part of the tablature notation. So again, let's just try this with me. You're going to go 2 hammer 4. So index and then hammer with your ring. So I'll just do a 4 count and we'll practice this 3 times in a row. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pluck, hammer, 2, 3, 4. Pluck, hammer, 2, 3, 4. Pluck, hammer, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's get into the hammer-on's twin sister, the pull-off. So to achieve a pull-off, you do exactly what it says, and you actually start with your finger on the string. So for this example, I'll be down here on the 1st fret on the A string. And what I do is I pluck the string, holding down the 1st fret, and I see that little P and I say, oh, it's time to do a pull-off. So I pluck that, and I pull my finger off, and it makes a second note. So if you can hear this again, Now, a little trick to this is you actually kind of want to pull on the string a little bit as you pull off. So let the little indentation in your fingertip kind of grab the string. You can hear it here as I pull off. I can get a little bit more volume out of that as I actually pull the string a little bit. You don't want to go crazy with it, but it will help if you kind of get a little bit of contact with that string as you are pulling off. So I can do that even without strumming at all or plucking the string. I can just kind of pull my finger off and get that. So again, I'll refer to the Pink Panther video that I have where there's 4 pull-offs in a row. So that pull-off would be written, as you can see below, 1, P, 0. So try that a few times, and then let's take a look at how to do this pull-off if you already have a note fretted. All right, so now let's say you see something written that says 3, P, 1, and you're on the E string if you're looking at the tab. So what I would do there is I would have my ring finger down on the 3rd fret on the E string, my first finger down on, or my index finger rather, down here on the 1st fret on the E string. So what I would do there is I would just pluck the E string and pull my finger off while keeping my index finger down here on the 1st fret. So watch that nice and slow. 3, P, 1. So again, I can kind of pull at the string a little bit, but I want to be careful in this situation because I can hear it right there. I'm kind of getting that bottom string involved. So you really want to go as far perpendicular as you can. You really don't want to pull down per se as much as you want to pull up. So again, you'll want to practice this really, really slow and listen, use your ears as your gauge to make sure that you're getting that second note to ring out. Now, let's say that you see something that says 3, P, 1, and then you see a second P that says 1, P, 0 as part of that whole thing. It's 3, P, 1, P, 0. Well, what that means is you're going to do 2 pull-offs. So in this situation, I would pull off the 3rd to the 1st, and then pull the 1st off to the open string. And I would do that all with 1 pluck. So let me just show you that first before we dive into it. So it would sound like this. Kind of the old Figaro. Figaro. That was a terrible singing version of that, but you can hear those 3 notes. 1, 2, 3. So I'm pulling both string, or pulling the same string, but I'm pulling it twice. Pull off 3 to 1, and then pull off 1 to 0. So you may see that. You also could see that with a hammer on, which you would just do the opposite. 0, 1, 3. So it's pretty cool technique that you can use to kind of add a little bit of color to your playing, especially if you're doing a lot of playing with single notes. Playing them straight ahead sounds cool, but doing it with a pull-off and hammer-on combination, you can kind of make it sound cooler. That sounds cooler. Now let's jump into, what if you see something written that says H and P in it, so you see that it's calling for a hammer-on and a pull-off. So I'll go down here to the A string on a C chord here on the 3rd fret I'm holding with my index finger. Now in that situation, I see 3, hammer, 5, P, or pull off, 3. So in that situation, I would hammer the 5th now with my ring finger, and then I would pull off that finger back to the 3rd. But I just do that all with 1 pluck here. So it would sound like this. Hammer, pull. Hammer, pull. And I'm kind of pulling at the string again as I do that. Now it does help that you attack a little bit more with your pluck here. If you go really light, it's hard to keep that volume going. So trying that, and getting that volume also has to do with your strumming hand. So we've talked about how to hammer, how to pull off, and doing a combination of the two. Let's just do one little brief playthrough here, again using that hammer pull-off technique. I'll count us into 4, and then we'll just do that technique about 3 or 4 times in a row. So here we go. 3rd fret with our index. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. All right, something else that I wanted to throw at you guys here, and this is pretty cool. It doesn't come across, you don't come across it too often, but I thought it's a cool technique to throw in here, and that's hammering on a full chord. So how would you hammer on a full chord? Well, let's say, for instance, we're going to hammer on an F chord, which just looks like this. So we would start with open. So you might see it, as you can see it below, it's written with all zeros, the open strings, and then hammering on to the 2 and the 1. So how do we do that? Well, what we do here is we kind of place our fingers above the fretboard where the F chord is going to go. And I'm just showing you here, but I'd keep my fingers closer. I play the open strings, and then I hammer the chord without strumming it again. Now, in a situation, an actual song where you would do this, there would probably be strumming following it. So let me just give you a quick example of how that would sound if I was actually using it in context. So I would kind of be playing. So it's got a cool feel to it. You've probably heard it in songs like Listen to the Music by the Doobie Brothers. That first part of the song, you hear them hammering on a chord. It's a common technique used in guitar that I think is pretty cool to use for uke as well. So if you want to try that, you can try that with any chord like G or F, D minor. It doesn't work quite as well with the one-finger chords, but I just thought, as long as we're hammering on and pulling off stuff, we might as well show you how to do a chord too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on techniques, the hammer on, the pull off, the combination of the two, and hammering on a chord. This is kind of part of our little technique playlist that we're putting together for you guys. So if you have questions, leave them in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for us for the videos, I would love to hear from you guys. If you guys have song requests, you can contact me through the website, AllForUke.com. We're taking requests for upcoming videos. We've got a lot of content coming out, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the little bell for alert notifications so you know when the next video is coming out. We're premiering several videos a week because we're quarantined right now in 2020, and we got time to play uke together. My name's Kevin. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you next time.